Inductive Bible study is a way of approaching Scripture that stays focused on a particular passage or a particular book. So the contrast would be to like a topical study where you pick a topic, let's say, marriage or money, and you look at verses throughout the Bible, see what they say. The inductive study is more, it's going kind of deep in one place, and you're asking, what was God communicating to the first people that heard this through this author? And why did the author arrange things that way? How does he tell the story? Why does Mark tell the story of the Gospels a little bit different than how John tells it? They're both completely true, but paying attention to how Mark is putting it together actually reveals just incredibly beautiful things. So in inductive study, you're starting with observing the text to recognize what's there. And then you're asking probing questions. So, and those questions then lead us into interpretation. So rather than take interpretation we heard from somewhere else, from a study Bible or from a podcast or whatever, we say, lay aside those other interpretations. We stay focused. How do I answer these questions we have from the text itself? What is the big idea here? What's the core message? And then once that becomes clear, then how do we apply it to our lives? What's the relevance? I've noticed that often in Bible study, people will jump too quickly to interpreting without having observed well, and their interpretation's kind of off. Or they want to just jump immediately to application, but they miss so much of what the Scripture is saying, and sometimes they miss the deeper thing or the harder thing that God might be calling them to in application because they looked for kind of the easy application. So I would encourage that inductive approach to the Bible in order for us to really receive its riches.